What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for January 13th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Victory Monday edition of the podcast. Yes, Eagles 22, Packers 10 in the NFC wildcard game. The Eagles move on. They will play the winner of tonight's Vikings-Rams game Sunday at 3 down at the Link. And as I always do the day after game, especially ones that I go to, going to give you my initial thoughts based on not really reading or seeing anything. I did listen to Sirianni's press conference coming home from the train yesterday, so I do have a little bit of info, I guess, from what he said, but I think overall they knocked the rust off. If there was any concern about that, it definitely was not the cleanest game, but I feel as though the Eagles did what they had to do, and at this time of the year, it doesn't matter. You just win and move on. And again, there are definitely some things they could have done better. However, I think overall this was a solid performance and just sort of like a business-like performance from the Eagles yesterday, which is good. I think they need to be more consistent on offense. Jalen was somewhat good early. Struggled somewhat, but you got to give the Packers some credit. I mean, obviously they were playing for their lives as well, so of course they're going to come out and give effort. But I do think this just goes to show the Eagles were a much better team than the Packers, because Eagles certainly did not play their best game offensively. I felt, excuse me, I felt the defense was outstanding though. Nolan Smith was all over the place. Zach Bond. I just hope that he's not pricing himself out of the Eagles for next year. Excuse me. I feel Reed Blankenship played well as well. Nakobe Dean, did not hear anything, but it didn't look good that he was carted off with a knee injury. That's certainly going to hurt this team moving forward. But as I said, my initial reactions were this is exactly what you needed to do. They had answers both on offense and defense when they needed them. When the Packers made it close, the offense responded, made it another two-score game. Jake Elliott missed an extra point, but he did have a couple big kicks there. So that's somewhat concerning. But overall, a good win. Great way to start the game with the turnover on special teams. And like I said, they're, in order to beat either the Rams or the Vikings, they're going to have to play better next week. But it's hard to be mad about this when I felt very much like this is a business sort of game. They went about it. They did what they had to do. And you move on. And in the playoffs, that's what you need. And I think for this team, too, it's probably good to get the monkey off of your back. I know AJ wasn't necessarily super involved. I don't know if that was game plan or if it was part of his knee bothering him. I guess I'll be able to find more about that with once I read and check into the post-game conferences and everything like that. But Eagles 22, Packers 10. We'll take it. I apologize for my voice. It was at the game, so it's a little raspy today. But you take it, you move on. Be watching that game tonight. Eagles get the winner of tonight's game. And truthfully, either way, either team, it's going to be on a short week. They're coming across the country one way or the other. So we'll see who it is. But it definitely will be keen or intently watching this game tonight. But as we always do, let's go back and recap the three keys to the game. The first key, I said, get Saquon involved early, set Jalen up for success early in the game. I mean, can't have a better first quarter, really, than what they did with the turnover. I think it was 10-0 at the end of the first quarter. Jalen threw the touchdown to Jahan Dotson. Like I said, Jalen was a little inconsistent throughout the game, but I do think you got to give some credit to the Packers for that, just because they had a good game plan. Saquon ended the day with 119 yards. Could have been more, but instead of trying to run up the score, because I guess that's the thing that's missed here too. Saquon could have scored, and this game would have looked would have been 29-10, but smartly just went down to run out the clock, but ended with 119 yards. So I think we nailed that one. Second key of the game, stop Josh Jacobs and then force Jordan Love to beat you and get some pressure on him. Josh Jacobs ended up with 81 yards, but I think most of that, like 30-some, came on one run. So the Eagles did do a good job with that. Jordan Love threw 3 interceptions. Nolan Smith had 2 sacks. I think we nailed that one in 2. And then finally, I said, don't look ahead. And I wanted to make sure they remained focused, did not let the Packers in this game. And as I mentioned, they were locked in this whole game. And it definitely, like I said, there was some sloppiness, but you could tell that the team was focused and they sort of, to borrow Jalen's line, the main thing is the thing. And they seemed locked in. They had answers and responses whenever they needed it with the Packers. So I definitely think they were locked in, ready to go, looking forward to next week's game, no matter who it is, Minnesota or the Rams. Definitely some playoff history between those two teams, so we'll have some fun with that this week. But Eagles 22, Packers 10. They play the winner of the Rams-Vikings game tonight, next week at the Link at 3 p.m. All right, and that leads us to today's question of the day. Day after a game, as we always do, who was the GOAT of the game? I got it narrowed down to 3. Probably could get away with 2, and I think I know where everybody's going to go with this. But was it Nolan Smith, Saquon Barkley, or Reed Blankenship? Get your answers into me, 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Text me, leave a voicemail. Let me know your thoughts on this game. You could even go Zach Bond, possibly. Jalen Carter, who saw a ton of double teams. But who do you got for the GOAT of the game? Nolan Smith, Saquon Barkley, or Reed Blankenship? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Leave me a voicemail. Send me a text message. Get your thoughts heard. All right, let's do some housekeeping. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Let's continue to spread the word as we grow this thing and look ahead to good things in 2025. The KYW article is up on the KYW website. I believe the audio is there too. Pretty cool driving to the train yesterday, listening to the article or the story on the radio. Pretty cool. Hopefully this leads to even greater things for the podcast as well. And then be sure to check out On Pattison. We're featured in there a couple times a week. Subscribe and get that newsletter sent directly to your inbox. And then check out the boys over at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Good things happening over there with their Sports Fan Network. That's available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And then do some celebration shopping today. Philly Goats got you covered, whether you need shoes, pants, shirts, hats. Hell, they even got coffee. Go buy some coffee from Philly Goat. Check out their site. Just take some time to scroll through all kinds of great things over at Philly Goat. And then use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. I can't stress this enough. Guys in my season ticket group, shopping at Philly Goat, not using the promo code, spending more than you have to. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, Sixers lost to the Magic 104-99. No Joe. Paul George had 25 before he fouled out. Maxey had 29, but it was sort of a struggle. Sixers are shorthanded, and they've now lost 5 out of 7. And it's, like I said, it's my fault for getting sucked in again, like I always do, the Lucy with the football every single time. But they are back home tomorrow to take on Oklahoma City. Tough game. I don't know if Joe's going to play, but they certainly could use him tomorrow in that game. But the big news I found as I was riding the train down, in a complete 180 reversal of everything, there will be no downtown arena for the Sixers. Apparently, there's not many details yet out. I'm sure as the day goes on, there'll be more. But apparently, the Sixers worked out a deal with Comcast now, and they're going to build a new arena down in South Philly. I'm not really sure where they're going to put it right now. I know they're going to have to demolish the Wells Fargo Center at some point, but a complete 180. I know a lot of the union folks were happy. They said it's probably going to end up creating more jobs, but no idea what happened. Just frustrating because there you go, typical Philly politics. They spent all that time with hearings and making sure all the I's were dotted and T's were crossed. And all of a sudden now they're going to be in South Philly, which, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not upset. I think it would have been cool to have it downtown. But I can't wait to hear really what happened with this and what there's got to be more to the story than what we know. So I'll continue to update you as we find out about that. Speaking of the Wells Fargo Center, Flyers are in action tonight against the Panthers down at the center, looking to keep their momentum from the other night after they shellacked the Ducks 6-0. They had good goaltending, so hopefully that momentum continues to go against the Panthers. Tough team, good measuring stick game always again as the Flyers really are in that rebuild, looking forward to good things to come. But whenever you play a team that's a Stanley Cup contender, it's good to see kind of where you are, how you match up, and really I just want to see how they're going to respond coming off of the win against the Ducks. All right, today we're going to go back to 2007, and the other day we talked a lot about iconic playoff moments. This one certainly would be up there if the Eagles win the game. It's certainly one of the best plays I've ever seen. However, on this day in 2007, the Eagles lost to the Saints in the NFC divisional game 27-24. And if you remember, the 2006 season was the Jeff Garcia year when McNabb tore his ACL. Jeff played a solid in this one. It was all about the running backs, though. Brian Westbrook had 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, but Deuce McAllister 143 yards and a touchdown against the Eagles. But the lasting memory from this was Sheldon Brown's complete decimation of Reggie Bush on the first drive of the game, completely setting the tone. And really, it was a hard-hitting game. Unfortunately, the Eagles came out on the short end after a magical turnaround by Jeff Garcia. But it was all about Sheldon Brown's hit on Reggie Bush. And if you haven't seen it in a while, do yourself a favor, look it up. And man, poor Reggie Bush still talks about that hit now. It was the hardest he's ever been hit in a game. But on this day in 2007, Eagles lose to the Saints in the divisional round 27-24 in a game really they were in and could have won. But Sheldon Brown completely destroying Reggie Bush with the hit early in the game. I think it was their first drive, too, so very, very early. Finally today, and again, it's another playoff week. We got to pull out some everything we have, some heavy hitters this week. But as we go through the month of January, we're not doing New Year's resolutions. We are forgiving those who wronged us in Philly sports history. And today, we're going to forgive Ben Simmons. And I know he was the number 1 pick in 2016, sat out his first year, won the Rookie of the Year in 2018, 2-time All-Defensive Player, first team, 3-time All-Star, all well and good. I'm forgiving him, though, and this is tough. This is another one of those guys I said I would never forget and I will never get over. But I'm forgiving him for a couple things. One, for duping me and a lot of us out there every year with the workout videos of him working on his jump shot and then coming into training camp and not shooting whatsoever. I forgive him for quitting on the Sixers, literally. I forgive him for not trying to improve his game. And I don't care what anybody says. He's working with his brother. And I get, like, I'm not making light of his mental state, which he kind of used as a last resort, which I think is wrong. He didn't try to improve. I don't care what anybody says. There's no way you... I fully believe some of those Instagram videos were the exact same video, just recycled. So I forgive him for that, though. But most importantly, I'm forgiving him for the 2021 playoffs when he literally was hiding from the ball and basically didn't want to be a part of it, and then passing up the wide open dunk that essentially would have sealed that game against the Hawks. I will forgive you for that, Ben. And again, you're another guy I said I was never going to forgive, but in an effort to bring good karma, release the negativity, bring some good vibes to our Phillies team, And truthfully, the Sixers need it, so maybe this will bring some positive vibes to the Sixers by forgiving Ben. But Ben, I forgive you. I blame Brian Colangelo for all of this, and we've already forgiven him, so we are good. Ben, I forgive you, and this took a lot for me to forgive Ben Simmons today because I fell for the stupid shooting videos every year. I was so angry during that playoff Game 7 when he was literally hiding. And then, of course, the missed dunk. Ben, I forgive you. Hopefully now, the negativity, I feel better. I feel the weights lifted off my shoulder. Hopefully this will bring some good vibes and good karma to not only all the Philly teams, but the Sixers really could use it. So, Ben, we forgive you. On this day in 2007, Eagles lose to the Saints 27-24 in the divisional round, but the big lasting memory from this game was Sheldon Brown completely laying out Reggie Bush early in the first quarter, really setting the tone for that game. And Reggie Bush, like I said, still to this day talks about it. We will have more on the Sixers arena, the Flyers, as well as who the Eagles are going to play and start looking ahead toward either the Rams or the Vikings as the week goes through. Be sure to get your GOAT of the game in. Is it Nolan Smith, Saquon Barkley, or Reed Blankenship? 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. Be sure to check out the KYW article. Go do some shopping at Philly Goat, and be sure to use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. But it is a Victory Monday. It wasn't super pretty, but it was very businesslike to me. And truthfully, at this stage of the year, they don't have to be pretty. You just win and advance. You're not getting style points now. It's all about winning. So I will take this game every time, especially when it could have been 29-10 if Saquon did not slide down. So we'll take it. We'll have more on the Eagles as the week goes. Will it be the Rams? Will it be the Vikings? Do you have a preference? Get that into me, too, as a little bonus question of the day. Do you have a preference on who the Eagles will play on Sunday? Let me know that. But it's a Victory Monday. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for January 13th, 2025. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go enjoy your Victory Monday. And until next time, go Birds.